What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining and watching this video. We hope it inspires you. We hope it uplifts you. We hope you stick around and watch the whole thing. Be willing to share it. Be willing to subscribe to our channel. We hope you do. We would love to see you do that. That'd be awesome. We want you to think just for a moment about what is the best news you've ever heard. Maybe it was that school was out for the rest of the year. Maybe it was that you got a snow day. Maybe it was that you got the grade that you knew you needed for a class. Or maybe it was something more heavy, like you heard for the first time that a family member was free from cancer. That would be incredibly great news. But I want you to stick around for the rest of this video called The Best News You Have Ever Heard. What is the best news you've ever heard? I asked you a moment ago to think about that. What is the best news, the best story, the best thing you've ever been told as far as something that made you joyful and happy? We all know that we're in a thing that they call a pandemic. And we're in a pandemic with the contagion that they call coronavirus, or more officially COVID-19. That is not new news to anyone. You would have to be living way off the grid or way off base in order to not know that we were in a pandemic called COVID-19. And because that we are in this pandemic, the reason we're in it is because we realize that the virus is deadly, that it is deadly to some, very mild to others, but nobody knows what they're going to get unless they get it. And so that then therefore creates quite a sense of worry and nervousness, because we have no idea a lot about what happens with this virus. We don't know. We have no idea. And so we're all in need of relief from it. We need some sort of relief, and what I mean by all is the entire world is seeking relief from this virus. So we all have the same problem. The virus is something that we need a cure for. We need relief for. And so scientists and researchers are literally racing to get a cure or treatment for coronavirus. And we all know that, and we're all rooting for them. And the reason they're doing that, the answer to why they are doing that, is because it is a global problem that we all need the response and the solution and the answer to. We need that problem fixed. And so we're all rooting for them. Imagine all the scientists working on this. They're working on it because it's a global problem, and they know that they will be able to help the entire world and most likely win a Nobel Peace Prize at the end of this. That is how big of a deal this is. They will go down in history for it. So stop for just a minute to think about this. Just think about it for a moment. The cure for coronavirus is found. And think about that. It's tested, it works, and they let everyone know they're ready to roll it out, and you can go get the test tomorrow, or not the test. You can go get the vaccine tomorrow, and it's ready for you, and you can get it with tomorrow or the next few days. Imagine the celebration when everyone hears that they have found a cure for this virus that has plagued us for the last couple months. Imagine the excitement and the joy. It would be all everyone talks about, and it would not take long for that news to spread. We would be like, did you hear they found a cure? And we would learn the name of the scientist or the group of scientists that found the cure, and they would be immensely famous and immensely a big deal, and rightfully so. The reason why is because that would render corona no longer an issue. The power of corona would be dead, and we would all go back to normal, and we would live with no worry. And how amazing that news would be. Like, we would party in the streets, whatever. Everybody could have a party again. Everybody could come back to church again. Everybody could go back to school, even though you don't want to. But you might be actually willing to go back to school because you realize that you miss it. All that would go back. The scientists would go down in history, and it would be amazing. That would be some absolutely amazing news. And I think everybody can agree with that. But what if there was news, the best news you have ever heard, that was already out there, and it wasn't about a cure for the coronavirus? The story of Jesus is called the gospel, and it's or gospel translates to be good news. So the story of Jesus actually means good news. It was news that broke into a world the same as ours that needed hope and needed a way to be saved. Similar to our world with corona, that we need hope and we need a way to get out of the problem that we have. The problem that the world had at that time was not a virus, it was not a contagion, it was actually a thing called sin. And every single person had that problem. Sin could be defined as doing something that breaks God's law. And the problem is that we've all done something before that goes against the law of God. Romans 3:23 says, "For all have sinned and all have fallen short of the glory of God." That means everyone was infected or is infected with sin. And so coronavirus or COVID-19 has only infected a small percentage of the population when you compare it to everyone. But everyone, according to Romans, has had sin and has made a mistake that would violate God's law. Therefore, we are then infected with sin. But Jesus came into the world to proclaim good news that he was here to help for that problem, that he was here to restore the treatment and the cure for the sin that we were under. Luke 4:18 says, "The Spirit," this is Jesus talking about himself. He says, "The Spirit of the Lord is on me, because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners and recovery of sight for the blind, and to set the oppressed free." What were the oppressed? What were they oppressed by? What were the people needed? They needed freedom from that plague of sin, which the consequence of that is death. Certain death, not probable death, not 85% death, certain death from the consequences of sin. And Jesus came to provide freedom for the consequences of sin. And he came as the sacrifice for all sin. And he provided a cure for the problem, not just the world's problem back then. He provided a cure for our problem, the problem that we have had with sin. And so back to our current situation with what we're going through just now in today's time, real time, whatever time it is, whatever day you watch this, the situation we're going through is if somebody was to come to you in this pandemic and say, hey, I heard they had a cure for the virus. I heard that they have a treatment for that, but I don't think I need it. I don't think it matters. I don't think I'm going to do it. And we would be like, hey, I respect what you have to say, but I really, really think you need to consider getting the vaccine or getting at least some treatment, because the severity of it is you could die. And then somebody would be like, I really don't think I need that. And all of us mostly would be like, oh yeah, you actually do need to go get the vaccine or take the treatment. And that's the same thing that happens with Jesus. People will say, oh, I've heard that he is the cure for sin, he is the healing of sin, he is the redemption of sin, he is the forgiveness of sins. I've heard all that, but I don't think that I actually need to go get the treatment. I don't think I need to accept that. And we, as the same as Christians, we hope and we pray that everyone would be like, we actually do need people to realize they need Jesus, that they need that good news. And good news is not good news if you don't think you need it. And that's the crazy part about the gospel is the best news you've ever heard and everybody will ever hear. But the problem is because sometimes people classify it as old news, they don't take it or they won't accept it, or sometimes just the same as Corona, they may not accept the vaccine. And we would be like, you really need it, just like you really need this because you need help with your life and you need to be able to have freedom from the power of sin. You need Jesus. We would say that same thing, that it is good news. And that's the thing about Jesus that is so important and so that we want you to understand if you're watching this video, that you need Jesus and the power of his freedom, the power of his what he can do in your life, the power of the Holy Spirit. You need that in your life to be set free from the power of sin. Not just some people, not just like part of the people. Everyone needs Jesus to be set free, and he came to be that for everyone. Not just some people, not just people who think they're good, not just people who think they're bad. We all need to realize that we need that, just like we all realize we need a problem, the solution to the problem for coronavirus. We all need Jesus. So we hope that if you're watching this video that you would accept Jesus, that if you haven't, you would take the time to pray, to consider turning your heart toward God and following after Jesus. That's what we hope, and that you can do that today. You just simply make your faith in Jesus. You make your trust and hope in Jesus. You say, God, I need you. I need your forgiveness. I need you. And I need you to be the Lord of my life. And Jesus steps in, and then that's it. And you don't even have to go to the doctor and get a shot. How amazing is that? That's really good news. And that's why this video is called The Best News. the last thing that we need to do is spread the word. This is incredibly important. The world is hungry for a cure for corona, but the world has always been hungry for a cure for the thing that we feel most, which is we will die and what happens if we die. And that is the thing Jesus provides. He provides us the answer to those questions, and we need to spread the word. That's why it's important to share all the videos you can share. That's why it's important to share this video if you can, because it is not about watching a video. It is actually about people's eternal destiny. And so share this video, promote it if you can, because it's very important. Hopefully people can be reached. I know people will be reached, and hopefully they will be able to accept Jesus, and we know as Christians we can spread it. So share this, because we truly believe that the word of Jesus is the best news that has ever existed. Even though when we actually have the news that corona has a cure, it'll be amazing news. It'll be some of the best news we've had in years. But the best news ever existing is the news of Jesus. So share this, pray for others, do that, do what you can. We thank you for that. We'll see you later.